everyone, this is Zeeeb and welcome to today's KR Meta Report. So the KR Meta Report, for those of you guys who haven't seen it in the past, is a series where I go through the meta in the career server and then look out for up and coming metas. So I stopped the KR Meta Report for a bit because I felt that the meta became a bit stale in terms of both the Colosseum side as well as the Arena side. But right now I decided to rerun this series again when there's a substantial change in terms of, the meta changing itself, right? With the introduction of more and more powerful units, I believe moving forward there will be new team compositions rising up, but we shall see, right? It won't be a regular every 2-week series where I run through the meta when the new unit is released, because I feel that right now the speed whereby newer units get maxed out in the general server is not as fast as in the past. So maybe the whole meta won't change as fast. It might take a bit of time before like the higher whales, discover like the OP new comps or the OP new team composition. So that's basically it, right? Just a disclaimer before I move forward. So without further ado, let us run through the Colosseum side based on my personal ranking as well as the Arena side. So looking at the Colosseum side, there's this new comp where we have a Lina and Mia combination. So I'm not too sure whether or not there's a hidden power spike in this team composition, because you have 2 skill damage and then you have 1 defense and Lina. So Lina is obviously solid as a leader, 1 hit crowd control and stuff. And I guess yeah, this comp is a bit questionable, like in terms of how it's used, but there could be some like positional strength in it, because if you put Veronica in the middle, she's effectively able to buff the whole team and heal them out, because the secondary skill has an increased AoE. But yeah, not gonna comment too much because I don't see the ultimate power spike in this team itself. So that's that, right? Maybe it's a stats thing, not too sure about that. Then we have your very standard Lina Kamel comp with a very disgusting Ara and Future Princess for the heal, the tankiness as well as the HP buff. So this team is really solid since like Ara's release, and right now it's still going very, very strong because it covers like the elements, right? Lina 1 hit crowd control, massive damage if you hit your weapon skills, and we have Kamel for the heal, the range buff as well as the range defense reduction. They have Ara for the defense, HP, and yeah, Ara's just pretty good with double range buff as well in terms of damage. So that's why this comp is dominating the ranks itself. So Ara FP, okay. So if you choose FP, it's probably because FP has a faster weapon skill, but FP's weapon skill can go a bit haywire as well. This comp relies more so on the disruptive power of Parvati, because Parvati can go after the backline, but Parvati is not as good against Lina if the targeting of Parvati is a bit off. So it all depends, but we have Ara to cover the ground against Lina itself. So that's one thing I guess this comp is going for itself. It's a very disruptive comp with FP's faster weapon skill compared to Lina. If both of you guys have the same weapon skill regen speed, FP uses her weapon skill slightly faster because she has the ability to reduce weapon skill regen speed from her abilities itself. So that's one thing going for this comp. And then we have Mia for the heal and sustain. So Mia is, I don't know why, it's seeing more use, right? It's been a while since I actually look at the Colosseum rankings and then analyze it, but somehow there's a lot more Mia, right? Is it a counter to Kamel or something? Because it has a debuff, it has a heal which removes the range defense, and it provides a skill damage buff, right? So 90% skill damage might not be as exciting in the past, but right now with so many mergers running around and also your relic and stuff, maybe people are running Little Princess merge and then putting with the skill damage buff for increased tankiness, right? The damage reduction is pretty sick, and 90% when you put it on like Lina with such a massive and like a long range weapon skill is pretty insane as well. So yeah, Mia's seeing a lot of use, right? So like the good units, right? The good units in Colosseum, they are still awesome, right? Lina, FP, Ara, Kamel, but we have some rising stars from the previous time I saw it. So number 1, it's Veronica. So the top few ranking has quite a bit of Veronica, and then I saw a few Parvati as well. Then I guess the Earth comp is still really solid, right? Ru being able to charge at the backline is still really solid, even though there's so many Lina. But the ability for Muriel to just hit really, really hard in her weapon skill is something not to be scoffed at, right? So there's Monolight, okay, solid as usual. So Monolight is still very strong, but I will say that Monolight is, or rather like the light Colosseum team is not as strong as it is in the past. So that's one thing for the light side. So Earth comp, your pretty standard range comp. Instead of Ara, you have Okma with more defensiveness, and then Parvati. So Rising Star, Parvati, and Mia. Somehow Mia is seeing a lot of use, even though I don't remember her getting a major buff. So this is I'll say like a slightly older comp. So it's like a very tanky, disruptive buff and heal comp. And yeah, Parvati over here, Veronica, Mia. Is it something going on with this double skill damage combi? It could be, right? Because like double skill damage on the rise. Interesting. Okay. Then we have basic comp. Yeah, basic comp. Not that strong, but I guess with so many light comps on this ladder, this comp is not bad. Yeah, because there's a lot of light, right? So he just charges at the back line, and then just remove all the Gabriel and Mark 99, or maybe even just remove the Camel from the picture if the Camel doesn't kill you. So yeah, in general, I think Colosseum meta hasn't really shifted too much in terms of like the more prominent comps itself. But from what I can observe, right, on the Colosseum side, is that we have some rising star or hidden new meta, which could be just a showcase by the players to hide their teams and stuff. That could be the reason. But Ara, very powerful Colosseum unit, right? Obviously, Lina, Camel, FP still really amazing. And I think the Up and Rising Star would definitely, the ones that caught my attention would definitely be Veronica as well as Mia, because from what I remember, they didn't really get a massive buff except for the change in their skill damage from 80 to 90%. And I guess the change in like skill damage by increasing 10% could have actually made the tip over the damage needed to actually burst your opponent. So having like plus 180% skill damage could maybe just make Lina's weapon skill hurt so much that people are using this comp, right? So that's one thing. But why not use Veronica with Future Knight? Because this will buff your Veronica, and this will allow your Lina to actually hit weapon skills faster. So that's one thing that I'm puzzled with, but I'm pretty sure there's a reason behind it. So if anybody who have seen this part of the analysis has some explanations for it, feel free to voice out in the comment section below. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Colosseum side. Let us move on to the arena side of the story. Okay, so moving forward to the arena side, this week we have Deathmatch, one of my most favorite map, because it allows a lot of team to flourish, and a lot of team combinations can actually work on this map itself. So we're going to see more variation. And firstly, as usual, melee crit really solid. Hana, the ability to just deal a lot of damage, cheat out your death and then try to do more damage to the next unit is just amazing. So Hana, really solid. Then we have Arena, and then we have Lilith. So Arena is to cover for Lilith's light weakness, and Lilith is just a unit that can do wonders, ever since her release. Like, she's a unit that always can be used in one way or another. And if Arena is such a prominent unit, I think the best dark melee unit you can actually use is definitely Lilith. So that's why she's still very prominent, even though nowadays we have Eugene, nowadays we have Scintilla being buffed, and we even have MP3, which is Mad Panda Trio. But Lilith will always be like the most solid arena counter there is in the arena ranks until another like a melee dark unit gets released. So that's that. And then Eugene seeing a lot of rise in usage. So this FK is probably a defense FK. So this is a very defensive comp with Eugene being the carry. So yeah, solid unit all around, right? She got buffed, more damage, and previously she's able to reduce the attack, gain a bit of defense, so she's able to survive longer, to carry out her chain skill more easily. So that's why Eugene is seeing a lot of use. And we have MP3, Mad Panda Trio, together with Raid. So maybe MP3 is to cover for Ray's for water weakness, because there's a lot of Hanas running around. And actually, I think that I'll say that Ray is not a bad unit, especially on this map, because there isn't really a lot of walls to block out her ability to dash forward. So that's why I guess she's definitely I'll say like a usable unit. Not the most OP right now, because there's a lot of powerful water unit like AA72, Hannah, and there's even Ara as well. But she's definitely strong if you match into the correct units, and if you're able to build your team to overcome her weaknesses, right? So that's one thing. And then we have Priscilla with Okma and AA72. So this is a defensive crit comp. So Eugene melee carry comp, and then we have MP3 melee crit comp. Okay, So this one is a very old school comp. This guy probably like really skilled with an old comp. I think FP right now is not in the strongest position. But then again, if you look at the rankings itself, right, there's quite a bit of dark units, or rather units which FP has a good matchup in the first slot. So that's why FP definitely is able to see some use here. Then we have your full range comp, right? As long as you have stat, it works, and you have full of comp, same thing. As long as you have stats and you're not countered by your opponent, it can work as well. And always, like, not gonna talk too much, right? These comps are stupid in my honest opinion. And then we have a mini crit, okay. Mono duck, okay. Okay, so MP3, so there's a bit of MP3. So defensive crit comp, okay. Then we have your range comp with triple element coverage, okay. So Lina, Ara, and Kamel, okay. So a lot more Eugene nowadays, as you guys can see. So this map, Eugene is originally very good. And one thing I would like to point out about this map is I think MP3 map Panda Trail is especially amazing in this map, because the reason why, right, is you can actually stand on the path of the dark gray color path or the dark colored path in this map, and then use your weapon skill. So you can actually hit your opponent, like if they are within the circular range of the path. So you can activate your weapon skill, run around this path, and the weapon skill will always hit your enemy. Like, that's what I realized having run her myself. As you guys can see, I haven't really been playing, but like I'm somehow really close to top 100. Like I think I didn't even touch KR Arena for 2 days. So like I think map Panda Trail is a very powerful arena unit on certain maps. Like maps which are very small and you can't really run away from her, I think she's amazing. And this map is not very small, but I think the coverage of this weapon skill is just big enough. Like no matter where your opponent run, as long as they cannot outspeed you and you're running, you have control over the black color strip, I think map Panda Trail is amazing. And as we continue to scroll down itself, right, we do see like AA72 as well. So we have a full range user. Okay, Nari is not good, by the way. This guy probably lucked out, or he has like amazing matchups. Maybe match up into a lot of Eugene lead and then, you know, win a lot from that. Because Nari has traditionally been one of the stronger Eugene counters. And then full range as well. Full range, like this comp, if it meets into like this comp, if it meets into like this comp itself, right, it's a free food. So yeah, he probably lucked out in terms of the matchup a bit, because there's so many fire units running around. Running 2 earth is like not optimal with like the meta having a lot of fire units. So that's one thing I would like to point out. But he probably has a lot of stats, so he can survive the barrage. Like Nari is very weak. She hasn't been buffed for like quite a few patches already. So we have standard, right? Eugene carry. So Parvati, okay. Parvati also got buffed together with Eugene in the same patch. So more damage to support units and like better weapon skills in general. So that's one thing. And then dark, okay. Mono fire, okay. Water team, So yeah, MP3, okay. Mono water, okay. Mono light, I mean this comp is probably good if you match up into like the likes of dark units. As you guys can see, there's more dark units in the ranking. The idea of a mono comp is when you know, there are specific elements where people use it, you always have an advantage over that opponent, because having like a 1 unit disadvantage against a mono light comp, right, can spell trouble, because like they have so many movement speed boost tools, and then they can just run if they can't fight your other units, right? Even though arena definitely limits mono light to a great extent, but from what you can see, at least in the top 100, there's quite a bit of dark users, right? You have Okma, you have Cloud, you have Lilith, you have Noxia. So running a mono light team in like a law of large numbers is still decent. Not the strongest, still decent, right? Or even though if you meet into a really powerful arena, you're probably gonna just die. But I think if your Eugene is equipped with the Okma merge and you're able to chain the arena, you might actually have the chance, because Eugene can normally outrun the arena and then just deal a burst of damage and win by HP. So there's always this possibility with this team, and that's why I really love it. So one unit which I feel that fell out of favor a bit is Carol. So I haven't really seen a lot of Carols running around. Like, I think Hana is more favored. I guess for 2 reasons, right? Because fire has become a more prominent unit, so water element is definitely a much better one compared to light, right, compared to Carol. And another thing about Carol is also like I think Carol's ability to chase is not the strongest, so people are not using her as much. And I guess she doesn't really fare that well against the light of Eugene, because Eugene, I don't know why, if it's not lagging, I think Eugene will always be able to kite Carol. So yeah, maybe that's why, because this map it requires a bit of mobility. So there's a few Carols, but I think Hana is more favored in the midi crit slot compared to Carol. So that's one thing I observe as well. But generally, I guess you can see quite a bit of variety in terms of the units used. Like I guess that's what I really love when I see Korea server, because they always have different comps, and sometimes some comps, you know, they actually work. People don't dare to experiment with them because maybe either they don't have the stats, or you know, they're just like you know, too lazy to try out new comps itself. So it's actually really good to just take a look at how the Koreans are playing, and then you know, try to figure out whether or not certain comps work and why certain units work. So from here you can see that MP3 is definitely a unit that is pretty solid in arena, and I guess in this map nearly any comp will work, right? It just depends on who you match into a lot, and as well as, you know, whether or not you get countered by your team. But the top most solid team, in my honest opinion, will still be your midi crit and range crit, because yeah, like if you lose on your first unit, there's always this possibility that you can win back with your other units in the team, because all units just deal so much damage, so they can win back as long as you have the team building advantage. So yep, that's pretty much it for my KR meta report / analysis. Thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe in order to see more videos from the channel. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.